got no idea what to make for the kids for dinner tonight. I don't know what happened, but it's like all of my choices that they will eat have whittled down to pretty much zero. And so I feel like I get a wide variety of things to cook, and I can't find anything that will satisfy both of them.
Cheese sticks?
Cheese sticks. Fish, well, they won't eat fish sticks.
I didn't say fish sticks. I said cheese
sticks. Just
my daughter's
sticks.
body, 80% of the atoms of my daughter's body go
cheese sticks for dinner. No salad, no fresh veg or anything.
No.
God, no. We have a guest today. Our guest is joining us from Hawaii via Wi-Fi, and it is Kat. I have known her as Kat in a Vat. And I met this person on TikTok. Yes, I did. I met this person on TikTok in a live chat called Batcolite, in which our beliefs are questioned, which we can talk about a little bit later. And Kat and I struck up a conversation on Discord, and Kat recommended a couple of movies. And I said, well, this would be interesting because Lionel and I have been watching a couple of movies and then responding to it. So maybe you could come on the podcast and talk about the movies that you like, and you did. So welcome, Kat.
I did. Thank you for
Thanks
having
for being
me
here. I should say,
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you can say a little bit about your surroundings. You are not just in Hawaii; you are in deepest.
I am. Yeah, I am in the jungle, so to speak. No, not so to speak. I really am. I am in the jungle. I'm like totally off grid. All my power comes from the sun. All my water comes from the rain, which it has been doing much of lately. You know, a couple weeks ago, I was complaining because it wasn't raining and I didn't have any water, and I was like really upset about it. And now it will not stop. And because it won't stop raining, I don't have any power, so that's fun because there's not very much sunlight.
So that's wild. So you get so your Wi-Fi and well, you have a Wi-Fi connection or some kind of cellular connection. Otherwise, we could not be talking to you. But the power comes from the sun, which is fantastic. And then your water comes from the rain. How do you gather it in a safe way?
So what you do is you build a structure, like whatever structure you have. So like most of our water is collected by the roof over our deck, which is like our living room and kitchen area. And so you build it at a slant, and then you put a gutter on it that goes into some type of container to catch the water. So it all runs down into this central point into a catchment. And then you have a carbon filter, a string filter, and then also a UV light filter if you want it to be safe for drinking, which we do have. And that's nice. How you do it.
Wow. So, well, thank you for joining us from the jungle. I have seen every once in a while when the volcano is active and you're on the live. You know, I confess I've had insomnia, so I've been awake at 3:00 in the morning, and you'll show us images at night of the reflection of the lava in the clouds, of the redness in the sky. It's very dramatic.
It is. One night, so that night in particular, I felt like it wasn't very dramatic at all. Like I felt like it was very muted as compared to what it is sometimes. The time before that, when it had erupted, I had been asleep, and I woke up and I looked outside, and the whole sky was like, it was probably 5 times as red as it was that night. It was so like, it was glowing so much. It's like kind of magical.
How often does this happen in Hawaii where I mean, Lionel's like, get out.
Do you like run or were you serene about this?
No, you go to it. You run to it.
It's like Iceland, man. That's how Kurt responded to the lava flows in Iceland. He was like, no, we go and watch. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's what we do. So the volcano in Iceland is the only volcano that competes with Kilauea for like most active volcano, yeah. But I think Kilauea is more active.
Yeah, this was actually during the flows. They were smaller eruptions. Some of the ground was opening up in Iceland. So I thought that was scary. Kurt did not seem
the fissures.
Concerned.
Yeah. So it doesn't. So this eruption has been going on since December 23rd of last year.
Almost a year.
And
Yeah.
it's every couple days, every week, every couple weeks, just depending.
All right. So I watched half of Moulin Rouge. Lionel watched 25 minutes. This
38.
movie was not for us.
30. There you go. Okay.
But I do want to hear kind of what you love about that movie. I think it's just that it was a musical, and I think almost any musical except Sweeney Todd would turn me off. I've seen very few musicals that I really. Chicago, I liked.
Chicago's good.
And this one's pretty dark. I mean, I'll still get through it. I just didn't get through it today. But it was getting interesting. The whole bit between the courtesan and the guy, Ewan McGregor, and I keep forgetting her name, was charming. I think that the medleys kind of threw me. I don't know why, but putting all the pop songs together into medleys was throwing me off. That's probably like, I don't know. That's probably just me and my generation, but I definitely want to hear kind of before we talk about SLC Punk, which I think Lionel and I both responded much more favorably to. I want to know kind of more about what you love about this film.
I love this film because when I first started having really bad insomnia, it's what I would watch every night to fall asleep.
Oh, okay.
That's why I love it. I also like the songs, and I like Ewan McGregor 20 years ago. I like Ewan McGregor now.
I mean, the guy was dashingly handsome, really stunningly handsome.
Yeah,
still is. But wow, when he was like in his 20s, holy smokes.
So I think it's an emotional attachment to both of them, really, but this one especially. It's more of just an emotional attachment that I have. But I will say that it was not just me that recommended this, so I'm not the only one that thinks it's good.
That's fine. There's no. I mean, look. We're a couple of bloviating dilettantes. We're
Speak for yourself. You're the bloviating dilettante.
Bloviating. Sorry, fun enough.
I'm perfect.
Dilettante. That's a word.
So
that is.
Yeah, there's many on the way, but it helped you with insomnia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I lived in Okinawa, I was 16 and I lived in Okinawa, and I used to like not be able to sleep really bad for the first time ever, and
this may happen multiple times. Hopefully, we'll get enough of a thought through before the Wi-Fi cuts out again. So, how's your favorite sports team doing? I don't know what to say. Isn't that what guys say? How about them Bucko Nations?
No, I don't follow any sports teams.
Yeah, Kat is switching from the iPad to the phone.
Okay.
I have a cellular backup.
Hi.
I think this will work better.
Okay. Great. So I was asking you if I heard you correctly, you listened to Moulin Rouge to address some insomnia. I guess I can't say the word. Are you there?
Every time you say that word.
Yeah. Okay. I'm off the insomnia thing.
All right. We know which word we can't say. Obviously, Riverside is cutting you off every time we say the word that begins with I and means that the inability to sleep.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. That's
there
we're
you
just
are.
gonna go with this. Yeah.
Okay. So I can't use the word because every time I say the word, you disconnect. But you said that you developed a fondness for Moulin Rouge during a period of time when you were finding it difficult to go to sleep.
Yes.
I find that fascinating because it seems like such a frenetic movie.
It kind of is, and it's also kind of dark and sad. But I really like musicals, and so that part, and like the songs were familiar, because they're all pop songs, so it was like comforting.
Right.
But it is kind of a lot. It's a movie that I had to watch many times to like really truly understand what the whole deal was, like what was going on, and all the nuances of it.
Something about the the singing, perhaps. Gotcha. Well, I mean, I think fans of musicals would really dig it. Or maybe I don't know. I can't say. Not a fan.
I feel like it's kind of split.
So should I give it a second shot? Should I?
I said I feel like it's kind of split as far as fans of musicals go, because it is really weird and out there and like not typical as far as musicals.
Yeah, it's true. That is an unusual. I mean, yes, overlaying modern songs on 1890s France is an unusual choice. I mean, the whole thing seems very whimsical.
It is. Maybe that's part of the reason I like it so much. I love a good whimsy.
Oh, now it's uploaded 100%. It just keeps going in and out. Could be the weather.
Yeah, the weather, it tends to be worse when the weather is not great. I don't know what that is.
Nice on fine.
I think maybe we didn't make the right offerings to the volcano.
To Pele?
Yeah, to Pele. Is it Pele in Hawaii? Is that the volcano
Pele.
god?
Is there a different volcano god in Iceland?
No, I guess I keep thinking of Pele, the soccer player. So they're really not related.
Not even a little bit.
No, not really. All
That's
right,
funny.
We've got you for a little bit. Can we talk about SLC Punk?
Yes.
No,
can we talk about SLC Punk?
Yeah, let's talk about SLC Punk.
Why do you love it?
I love it because I learn something every time I watch it. I love it because I always walk away somehow feeling better, even though it's like terribly sad. I love it because I relate to it a lot.
So can you tell us why you relate to it? I mean, I think I agree with you. It's like it's a tragedy with a lot of bravado.
Mm-hmm. I relate to, let's see. I think I relate to Steve-O a lot, right? Like, because it's kind of a coming of age, like indie, whatever it is, whatever you'd call it. And it's about like finding yourself and thinking you are one person and really understanding that no matter how much you want to be this person, you need to, like, you are who you are.
Yeah. Right. That's like the downfall at the end, or maybe it's not a downfall. It's nicely ambiguous. He's so insistent on his lifestyle. Just to summarize for people who haven't seen it, this is a story of it's Steve-O is the main character, right? I'm terrible with movie names. Yeah, Steve-O is a punk in Salt Lake City, and he's one of a dozen punks in Salt Lake City, and he and his friend, Bob, go around beating up rednecks and
going to parties and
espousing anarchy, the benefit, the virtues of anarchy, and violence. And they seem to be having a fine time. They do a lot of drugs, and Steve-O has infatuations with, is it 2 different women in the movie, or is it 3?
It's one mainly all throughout the movie, and then at the very end he meets.
Okay, so she's the same. I guess I got confused. I thought it was 2 different women, and then
no, it's the same woman.
Okay, right, and then and there's sort of a fatalism and nihilism, and he's really attracted to that, and then suddenly he falls in love with a woman who's like, that's all nonsense.
She challenges him.
Yeah. What I particularly love about this film is the relationship with him and his dad.
I love that too.
Really good.
Because you expected to. Yeah, I really did, because I expected it to be just sort of that's what I loved about this movie, is that it really felt multiple times like you're just going down a very well-worn narrative path. It's like, oh, the parents will be completely clueless and the son is the genuine rebel. And it certainly feels that way. That whole scene in the living room when they're talking to him about going to college, I couldn't stop laughing. I love his little speech at the end where he basically gives him the finger. He says, I love you guys, but you're complete tools, and fuck you. And they're like, okay, we love you too. And I really love that about the movie, was that it kept veering in a different, like you feel like you're going down a groove that you've seen in a million other movies. And you're like, okay, I've seen this movie before. And then all of a sudden it veers off on a slightly different direction. Like the ending I thought was really fascinating. It was really fascinating. Just because you expect some kind of like defiant thing at the end. He's like, no, I got to hang this one up. And I just gotta, accept what's coming my way, which is not what you expect. I mean, that's what I felt. That's one of the many things I found interesting about the flick.
It's engaging. It's really engaging.
Mm-hmm. You said you learned something new about it every time. What do you have an example of something that you learned about it recently?
Well, I learned something from it every time. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it like as I've gone through my life thus far, and I've watched it at all different stages and points. There's always something new that has happened to me or that is happening to me, and it teaches me something because it's really engaging and it doesn't take you where you expect it to go, and it goes a lot of places. There's a lot of relationships, like a lot of dynamics that are at play here, and a lot of experiences. And so last time I watched it, I had a notebook right next to me, and I just started writing things down as I heard them that like made me think or that I wanted to revisit. And one of the things I wrote down was rebellion happens in the mind. You can't create it. You just are that way. And this had never before struck me like it struck me this time. And because it said you just are that way. I just talked about how you can't be anything other than what you are, no matter how much you want to be. And rebellion. And then we think of rebellion as a way of being, not a thing that you do. And that was interesting to me. I related a lot to that.
Yeah. I mean, I think in most of the film, it's funny because he keeps calling people posers, and he's very concerned with being authentic and being genuine. Of course, and then at the end of the movie, it kind of flips around. But I love this idea of the rebellion is what happens in the mind.
That's what Brandy says, right? Isn't that a quote from Brandy?
Yeah, Brandy says it to him on the couch. Yep.
Right.
What did you make of Mark? Because that seemed to be like not connected to anything else, but really, like you said, engaging. Like you really got sucked into that. What do you make of that whole thing?
Like the scene in Mark's house where Mark is talking to him and showing him things, and then they go out that night and steal the car and try to sink it, try to ditch it in the Great Salt Lake.
Just the whole. What do you think? What do you think is being said? Do you think there's a point being made by or do you think maybe the movie tries to avoid making too many points? I found him completely entertaining, but I'm like, what is this about? Or is that the wrong question?
I think that I think Mark is just part of the whole, right? This is a little band of misfits in Salt Lake City in the mid 80s, when trying to discover punk rock and themselves and the world around them and where they fit into all of that. I think Mark is part of the process. I think, Jim, have you talked to the rabbi much?
No, I have yet to talk to Rev, right?
Rav, yeah.
And we're referring to somebody on TikTok.
Yes.
But yeah, I have yet to talk to Rev.
And he is a rabbi, and he's my favorite person to talk to. And the part of this is because the way he views theology is it's called process theology. And in his view, God is the process. God is becoming. And I've thought about this a lot since the first time I talked to him about it. And I think that this movie is it's a good kind of representation of what that means, right? This is about the process. This is about becoming. And what the process is and what you're becoming is up for interpretation or subject to change or, but that's what it is. And I think Mark is just part of that process. I think it would not be the same without him, but he also doesn't really fit.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's why it's not the same without him, because he's a true outsider. Like everybody is from Salt Lake City in there. And he's like the person he's like this mythical traveler from a faraway land. So yeah, kind of interesting. Yeah. What else? What are some of your other favorite parts of it?
Yeah. So I really love. So I like the scene. This is like a really small I think it's a small blip in the movie, but it's the scene where it's Bob's dad's birthday and they go to bring him something.
Yeah.
And they leave, and Steve-O talks in the monologue about knowing his friend a little better. And there's like this just really genuine moment between the two of them where like their family, like that is like Steve-O is Bob's family, and it's reciprocal, and it's just like this really like raw, genuine like moment of friendship. And I relate to this a lot. My friends are my family for the most part, and so like and it's in ways like that. It's in little things like that you see these like that those relationships grow, and they are reflected in that way. And I think that's one of my favorite. That's something that really sticks with me.
I really like the scene between Bob and Steve-O where they're young and Bob comes in with like new music to play.
Yeah.
I really related to that. Actually, kind of how Lionel and I met. He likes
really?
I think I brought Lionel a bottle of wine because he had made a guitar effects pedal unit for me out of an old steel something or other. And I was very thankful, and I brought him a bottle of wine, and then he sat me down and played the Catherine wheel. And that was the start of a beautiful friendship.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I just thought that was great. Just the way music kind of like, no, listen to this. And then they like base their whole lives on it. It's wild.
Do you have an affection for that music of that time, Kat?
Not necessarily of that time. I mean, I have a special affection for anything that could be classified as punk, but that's a very broad brush stroke because punk also, like rebellion, happens in the mind. It's not something that you do. It's something that you are, or something that is. It's not a certain there is a certain like classification, right? There are bands that you think of, there's a type of music that you think of when you think of punk. But I used to DJ a punk rock radio show, like FM radio show in Boise for a while. And I pushed the limits on what was like anything that I could personally justify to myself as fitting the punk like genre like label. I did. And so I played all kinds of things that were probably pretty far outside of that, but they fit it to me because it's a mindset, not
right.
Do
you remember any of them that you played that were really outside? Or if you don't,
I think fine. Clint Eastwood by the Gorillaz was like kind of pushing the limits a little bit.
I don't know that song, so
I do. Yeah.
It's a good song. I really enjoyed it.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things I think we've talked about before on this show is how I believe that rock and roll has been with us forever. And I love classical music. I've listened to a ton of it. And there's some classical pieces that totally rock. Vivaldi's Four Seasons, a big chunk of Beethoven and stuff like that. It's really interesting. And pieces, they don't have to be loud. They don't have to be electric. Like rock and, when something rocks or when something's punk, yeah, I totally agree. It's a state of mind. It's not necessarily instrumentation. It's not necessarily you're playing very fast, although that probably helps a bit. But I'm just fast. There's these endless debates about what's jazz. That's endlessly debated. What's jazz, and it's a fruitless conversation, kind of. But yeah, I like that idea that punk or rock is not it goes a lot broader and a lot longer than you might think. So yeah. So in Boise, you're doing a DJ show there?
Yeah, when I lived in Boise, there was a community radio station that I got involved with for a while, and I was DJing a like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. punk rock show for a while, and it was really fun. And it was really fun.
Are there a couple of tunes that you think every man, woman, and child on earth should listen to?
Oh, there's many tunes I think everybody should listen to. It's usually entire records, because I think that a record as a whole should be a composition of music and cohesive and flow almost as a story. It doesn't have to be, it's like, you know, not every album has to be a concept album, right? But it should have a beginning, middle, and end, right? You know, and flow cohesively through it. You should be able to listen to any record front to back and hear the build up and then the wind down and the conclusion. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
I want some recommendations.
So this one is a concept album. It's arguably might be my favorite concept album. They're kind of like vying, but Tallahassee by the Mountain Goats is fantastic. I think that The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, so emo, but it's a if you listen to it, it cohesively tells a story and it flows together so well. They wrote that album really, really well. I also I think that The Hum Goes On Forever by the Wonder Years is one of my favorites to listen to front to back. What else? I could sit here and I don't want to sit here and rattle off.
That's good, though, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that you just rattled off 3 albums and I knew absolutely nothing about any of them. So that's a good sign. It's something new to hear. Check it out.
And they're 3 very different albums too. Like they're all completely different.
Huh.
Well, I'll also be listening. That's great to get a recommendation like that.
So in addition to the 2 movies, is there any movie you've seen recently that maybe is moving its way up the hit list with you?
I have watched one movie all year, and it's SLC Punk.
Really?
So where you are, it must be difficult to watch movies. Or can you go to a nearby town to watch something in a theater?
Yeah, I could go there. I think there's a movie theater. I believe there is a movie theater. I haven't ever been, but I think it does exist. Not that far away. I'm not really, I watch the same 10 movies over and over and over again and very rarely watch anything else, to be completely honest. And I don't own a TV, and I haven't in like 5 years. And so movies just aren't a thing that I do very much.
Okay.
I imagine you have enough to do in the jungle.
What was that?
I imagine you have enough to do in the jungle.
Oh yeah, no, I'm never bored. No, there's always something.
But what do you do? What are you working on right now? If that's okay to ask.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I make a lot of art. I grow a lot of plants. And that's primarily what I spend my time on for the most part. Yeah. I play a lot of chess.
Is that online on Discord?
I play a lot of chess on Discord. Tyler and I play a lot of chess too, though. Yeah. He's really good at chess, which is fun because it makes me better.
Yeah. Getting beaten is a good thing. Which
I've lost so many hundreds of games of chess.
So we met on this very strange TikTok live that I keep trying to describe to people, and I feel like I keep failing. Can you describe Bat Collect to people? Maybe you have a better way of talking about it than I do.
This is a space It's a critical thinking exercise, ultimately. Like, at its core, what it is a critical thinking exercise. And it's not only a critical thinking exercise for the people that come and get their beliefs questioned, but it's also a critical thinking exercise for those of us that come and do the questioning, right? Mm-hmm. I find myself every night, like, in some critical thought, like, dive in my own mind. So basically what it is it's a space online where you can come and if you're open to questioning and if you're open to, like, critical thinking, we will ask you questions about your belief system to try to inspire critical thought. Oftentimes people think that this is going to be a debate or an attempt to deconstruct whatever belief you have, and it is never that. It is, we're just asking questions. I mean, Thrill and I say it all the time. We're just asking questions.
The guy who leads it is named Thrayle, Thrayle, and Batcolet is spelled Batcolyte. And if you find it on YouTube or if you go to TikTok and find it and it's live, you'll notice it's a lot of images of skeletons and skeletal bats, which I think is just a preference of Thrayle's, but which might seem spooky when you first see it. And it might be a turnoff, but what happens, I find, is strangely compassionate, because the Thrayle himself has become so good over, I don't know how many hours he's done this. At
hundreds.
Finding the core question to ask you for the belief system that you have. He has some set questions. If you come up and say, well, I believe in the God of the Bible, or I believe in Yahweh, there are a few set questions to start off, but very quickly it goes into something a little deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a really good space. Like, if you're tossing around something, or if you start down some rabbit hole in your belief system and you hit a wall with yourself, it's a good space to come open those ideas up to other people, because oftentimes how everybody else thinks about whatever it is not going to be how you were thinking about it.
What's really fascinating is when someone has come along with sort of certain that they have a coherent set of beliefs that all work with each other, and how quickly they find out that they don't really work with each other, or there are contradictions between beliefs that, because it's all just kind of run in your own head and you're not testing it out, you haven't tested and prodded it. And I mean, this is what happened with me. I felt pretty secure in what I believed, because it's kind of, I mean, it's not typical, and it's in terms of theology, it seems a little bit unassailable. But very quickly, I kind of ran into a place where I had a false assumption, and then I had to, when I researched what you all pointed out, I definitely found out that it was kind of a popularized idea around quantum physics that just had no ground. And that was fascinating to me. I'm not used to being challenged that way.
You're welcome.
I kind of wonder what some of my friends, like my friend James O'Brien or Lionel, would be like on the Batcolet.
That would be fun. One of my friends came, not last night, but the night before, one of my friends came on and was questioned.
How did it go?
Really well. It went really well. It was a great conversation. She's a Catholic, kind of.
Oh, I think I remember this. Was this the bad Catholic?
Becca? Yes, the bad Catholic. Becca the bad Catholic. Self-proclaimed. We had this moment last night that... So I was just talking about how, like, you might have, an idea about something, or somebody might develop an idea you have in a way that you would have never thought of it. And this happened to me last night. I've been asking this question of anybody and everybody. And the question is, does God have to exist to be meaningful? And I've had a really interesting range of answers, and there's a really interesting trend with the responses I get to this. But something happened last night that I wasn't expecting and that I hadn't heard yet, and that was, like, really profound in my opinion. There was a guest who has been on before, I suppose, but not anybody I had ever talked to, and she is from her own words, her brain is eating itself and she is dying. And this was a really like heavy conversation. That's fine, you know. But she wants to believe. She doesn't, but she wants to because it's comforting to her. The idea of believing this is comforting to her. And I asked her this question, and she thought about it, like really gave it some thought. And then she said, no, it doesn't have to exist to be meaningful, because like this interaction that we're having, the fact that we are here having this discussion and even entertaining the idea of a God, these like really raw, open, genuine human like interactions, that's what's more meaningful than God could ever be. And I thought, God allowed this to take place. Like the idea, the concept of God is what allowed this to take place. Maybe this is God, right? We ask what God is, and I've come up with so many different answers over the last few months. And in that moment last night, I thought, this is God. That's what's meaningful.
That was this morning for me, and I did tune in this morning actually after the kids had gone. I often tune in the morning because I mean, there have been times when I've had a hard time going to sleep, and or I wake up in the middle of the night, and I do just automatically turn in. I've also fallen asleep to this thing because Thrale's voice is very low and very calming, very Ken Nordine, and it is very soporific. So I've heard some of the things that happen kind of towards the beginning of the show, and then towards the end. I don't usually get the middle, but I did hear this, and that person, I guess, was phoning in from the hospital bed, literally dying, and questioning their beliefs. So that's really, I mean, that's inspiring. There are a lot of inspiring moments. I guess I feel like it's weird that I'm having all these inspiring moments listening to TikTok conversations, because they're usually just arguments. They're usually just debates.
I was having this conversation, or so earlier, Z called me because of her, and he was talking to me about it, and he was like, I don't know what to do with this. I've never had internet friends, and I don't know how to approach this, and I don't know how, like, I am thrown off by these like really like meaningful interactions that I'm having in this space. Like,
who was that called you?
Z.
Oh yeah, Z. Z is the. So we only know each other mostly by nicknames, but yeah, Z is ZEE.
And it's funny though that you said that, because right like an hour before we were doing this, I was having the same conversation with Z about that.
Yeah. That was very intense.
It's a special place.
Yeah, it's a strange little island in a sea of absurdity, which is TikTok. I guess I would have expected to find this on some other platform, but there it is. And anybody who loves the Socratic method, that, you know, studied a little Plato, I think you'd get a lot out of it just to listen.
What led you there?
Good question. I think I was trying to make content for TikTok because I felt like I had to, you know, for my music. And then I would see like these short videos, and some of them were cool and some of them weren't. And I did curate my feed so that it was showing me stuff that I was interested in. And a lot of deconstruction stuff came up. By deconstruction, I mean ex-Christians. We've talked about that, Lionel, on the show. Ex-Christians that are kind of trying to free themselves from the dogma and the stigma of not believing anymore. And I think I didn't really have it that bad, but I think people can have, you know, people can get estranged from their families. Kat, I don't know what your experience was, or if you ever were in a church when you were in SLC or north of.
So I've never actually lived in Salt Lake City or in Utah at all. And I have also never had a belief in God or been part of any religious organization. So I have a kind of unique.
Pele is angry that you don't believe in him.
Oh, so I have a kind of. I've never had a belief or been part of a church. My parents were not religious, and nobody forced me to go, and nobody forced me to do the thing. You know.
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by theology. I used to go, I've read the Bible. I used to go to church with my friends and things, just because I was fascinated by the whole thing. It's, and it's still fascinating to me. And then in adult life, I met people who were deconstructing from various like different belief systems. And I saw what it did to these people, and like this immense amount of empathy that I feel for anybody, for everybody, you know, and like was just overwhelming. And I realized how important it was to like for these people to be able to do this in a safe place and have an outlet for that. And it became very, very important to me to participate in that in any way that I could find to do that. And this is really, really fulfilling in that sense.
And you've been doing your own lives recently, and they seem to be kind of like a safe deconstruction zone. What, do you have an overarching kind of plan? Thrale's question that he posts on the poster that he puts up, they're more or less always the same. Until somebody veers off so far, he puts up the WTF poster, and sometimes he lets people ask him questions, but mostly he's like, my opinions, my beliefs are not the subject here; they're your beliefs that we're talking about.
Do you know why?
No, I don't know. I don't know any. I know very little backstory on this, so I just discovered it flipping around, and then I was like, "Whoa, this is different." But yeah,
so
please
he
tell.
does not engage with that question for the same reason that I refuse to engage with that question from guests. And the reason is it compromises the integrity of the exercise. Because if they know what we think, then they have a bias about what we are going to think about what they think.
Right. And there's a lot of squirming. There's a lot of like, but I don't know what you think, or why are you a coward? Why do you not tell us? And yeah, I mean, those are often kind of where the wall has been hit or where the bottom fell out. I think of it sort of like holes. Like you're going along in the dark with your belief system, and suddenly you've discovered there's a hole. And then either you deny it or you accept it and you say, oh, like this doesn't work. And both things happen on the.
Everybody hits their limit at some point.
Yeah.
Lionel,
do you have have you formulated any questions about this? Is it interesting?
No, because I've never actually heard it. So it's kind of hard for me. And it seems like it's a deep topic for you guys. And I really have nothing that approximates it either. It's not like it's part of a broader general phenomenon in society, so I can move sideways from something else. It seems to be really sort of unto itself a lot, at least in terms of my experience.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of the Phil classes at Haverford that we took. We were both at the same college.
I think that the art of Socratic questioning has almost died.
Right.
So it's a very unique place in that way.
It is. I mean, I had a professor, Paul Desjardins, who was very much like this. And Ashok Gangadine to a lesser extent, because we kind of knew where he was coming from. He was the author of the Universal Grammar treatise. But Desjardins was different. Desjardins was much more like Thrale. He wanted you to know yourself better.
Do you guys think that people who have never had a belief in a deity chase or not chase, maybe pursue the idea of objective morality?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just remembering that this is a conversation from this morning.
I'm just like in the idea that was posed there, that people who are pursuing objective morality, like that may be directly tied to a religious belief they do or once held. It was interesting to me.
I have a lot of thoughts about that, but yeah, I mean, Lionel, have you ever thought about, has objective morality ever been an issue for you?
Objective morality, you mean just like laying down some basic rules saying, no cussing, no spitting, no fighting, and trying to put together like some like rules of behavior for everybody without reference to some religious work?
Well, I think, we were talking about the book by Kim Stanley Robinson. Was it Kim Stanley Robinson? No, or was it The Well-Built Garden? The idea of the earth, it was Kim Stanley Robinson, the Ministry for the Future.
Ministry for the Future.
Right. And how can we get people to stop effing up the planet? And Kim Stanley Robinson says, create a religion, right? And because people will do what the religion says. And I think that was where you came up with the idea of the Book of Mom.
Well, that was a joke.
Right.
I mean, there's the Book of Mom, but there's also the Beholders, which is sort of something that I've sort of kicked around a bit. But I don't know if that's really an objective morality of any sort. The interesting thing that you have to address is, how do you convince people to do things? How do you incentivize people to do things that don't benefit them in the near term? We talk about, oh, you need to do this for future generations, which sounds like a noble thing. But, how do you actually get people to do that and agree on that? And more importantly, perhaps devote their efforts to something that may never come to be. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, but you really should do this because it's a good thing. And I've seen that's sort of one of the places where religion has operated, is getting collective action and convincing people to do things where there's no immediate incentive, like an economic system where, if you do this, I'll pay you $100. Okay, right. I can bank that. It's different than, hey, if you help me build this cathedral, it's a good thing you've done, and you gain grace.
You know how you get people to do things without the immediate gratification is you threaten them with eternal damnation.
You can do that too. That's another way.
Yeah.
Or you can say, if you do this, or you can do carrots and sticks, sure. Or you can say you get time off, or you go to a better place, or it's just a really good thing, or God likes this, or it's a good thing to do.
I think a good thing to do doesn't quite cut it, right? I mean, well, we'd all be happy if you did this, won't motivate enough people to build the cathedral. It's almost like, I have a relic from, a torn piece of the Virgin Mary's garment, and we need a place to house it. And by the way, the devil's coming, and all of his minions are going to be, in the town of Chartres in about, 120 years. So if you want any of your kids to survive that and not be dragged off to hell, we need to build this giant stone structure.
Well, that's other than that,
I mean,
Mrs.
not that
Lincoln,
I was there.
How did you enjoy the play?
I'm not saying that I was the one behind that back, X number of lives ago, but that's how I would do it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where I mean, objective morality, they're trying to come. I don't know. I'm sort of drawing a blank on that one.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Kat, why does there need to be objective morality? I know. Can you hear us?
Yeah, there doesn't need to be objective. I don't think objectivity exists in a way that we have access to it. I think definitionally it doesn't. I think that there is probably some objective truths. I think that there probably is some things that are objective, but definitionally we can't know them. Because objectivity requires the absence of a mind. And we can't do that.
Do you mean this in the way that, I mean, is it a question of we, observing everything through the senses, we only get the information that our senses are allowed to show us? Can we figure things out mathematically, for example, or?
So I think that, so definitionally objective is something independent of mind. Subjective is dependent on mind, and so in that way nothing is objective, because we cannot have anything that is independent of mind. Like, the mind is the way that we process and perceive and understand the world.
Yep, nodding in approval says, Lionel is nodding, but does this make you an idealist?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, an idealist is someone who believes there's nothing but conscious thought.
No, I don't know.
No.
Right?
Flat denial.
Next.
No, I would not ever say that that is the case, because I don't know that that's the case. It might be the case.
Right. Fair enough.
Maybe it could be, but I don't know, when I'm not going to put myself in that box.
I when I met Kat, you were describing yourself as a solipsistic nihilist.
Yeah.
Has that changed at all?
No. No, I don't know that that'll ever change. And it's not solipsism in the way that I can only prove that or be sure that I exist. It's hard solipsism in the way that I can't even be sure that I exist or anything else exists in a physical sense at very least. And so it's a big I don't know. Like solipsistic nihilism is a big I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here, and I am not going to assert knowledge on any of it. I know the thing about it is, my experience doesn't change. Like whatever the truth is about the nature of reality that doesn't change my experience. And so it doesn't matter what it is.
This is a good position from which to ask questions for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not hearing a hard assertion.
I don't have any.
Yeah.
I have almost no. I have preferences towards maybe like one way of thinking versus another, but those are all completely emotionally like charged, and I am fine with saying that I don't know, or I might be wrong, or I it might not be the case that X, Y, and Z thing, is true, but this is my preference. And again, whether it is or isn't true, my experience doesn't change. So I'm just going to like roll with the way that I would like to think about things, because we can't ever know.
Let me think. So when you do your own lives, do you have a different goal than Thrail does, or did we already address that?
I usually just have more pointed questions. Like I have more specific pointed questions that I ask.
And how has it gone? How do you feel that the
really
guests
well.
have been?
The guests, I've had pretty much all really good guests. I've had really good discussions. I've had really good answers. I think it's gone really well. I've had like pretty good viewership, and that's mostly due to the really good community that I have because I spend so much time at the Backlight. But it's gone really well. I've gotten a lot of really good, like positive feedback. It's been described as a cozy place, like a place where it feels like everybody's just in a room with a bunch of like cushions laying around on the floor having a discussion. And that's like exactly the type of environment that I want to create. And so that was really, really meaningful feedback that I got. Because that's what it should be.
I agree. And I on the one hand, I'm disappointed that we're all doing this in this kind of cold container of technology. That wouldn't it be preferable if we did have a room full of cushions and we were all there in person and we could all talk to each other about questioning kind of the deep assumptions that underlie what we think of reality, or even something else. But the fact is, doing it this way reaches people that I would never have contact with, yourself included. Thrail, Philly Red, another nickname for somebody fascinating. There are a lot of fascinating people out there, and they're drawn to the questions. And holding a space open for questions seems profound for me in a time when everybody feels so certain about everything.
Everybody thinks they're right. Doesn't matter if you're right. Why does it?
Does it have video, or is it just audio?
So I don't know if we've lost Kat, but Backlight is a static image. So Backlight, Thrail doesn't reveal what he looks like.
Okay.
But so it's what is it like? It's like Hollywood Squares in a sense. Like there are boxes, and then your icon appears.
Right.
And in some lives, people are encouraged to turn their camera on. In the Backlight,
so it's like a Zoom call.
It's just your icon. Yeah. It's like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It is like a public Zoom call. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't feel like a Zoom call, though. That's interesting. Zoom calls are annoying and boring, and these are never annoying and boring.
No.
How is this striking you, Lionel? I know it's all foreign stuff, but it
is. It really is, and it sounds like you guys are really steeped in it, and I'm just not it's really not part of my world. So I don't want to intrude and just lob incoherent hand grenades at the conversation.
I want them. I'm
well, no, but I can because I haven't spent a single second listening to any of this stuff. So it's like the criticism we leveled at the Buddhism guy, which is that sounds like you read every single, but he never actually like met a Buddhist. Yeah. Okay, well, I think
maybe we lost Kat again.
I think
Kat might come back, and maybe we can wind up. It'd be nice to kind of bring this to a nice conclusion.
I'll hang up.
No. I mean, no. Maybe Kat will come back. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's what I'm saying. I'll hang out then. I'll wait here.
Oh, you'll hang out. I thought you were like, okay, I'm gone.
No.
I said hanging up.
Okay. No. I'll hang out. I'll hang here.
All right.
In the hope that she there we go.
There we go.
Yes. Hey.
There we go.
I don't remember where I left off, but it's the idea of that we're meeting on something that kind of looks like a Zoom call, but it isn't a Zoom call, and it's a cold environment, and yet I've made contact with people all over the world that I never would have met otherwise, and there's something in that is, we're not able to meet, we're not able to hang out on cushions and talk, but we are able to meet a disparate version of people that are curious and interested in questioning their beliefs. I always wonder, what is it that makes somebody go up on that panel? What makes on your panel even? What is it that motivates somebody to I'd like to be torn apart. Thank you. Please do it.
There are some people out there who genuinely want to think critically, or who are trying to deconstruct a belief that are struggling with it, and they just need an outlet. And
well, then that's very profound, because where else would they find it except on this wacky little platform?
Right.
Therapy? I mean, is it sort of a therapeutic kind of vibe?
I don't know. What do you think, Kat?
I think that some people find it. I think that some people find that it gives them the things that therapy is supposed to give you without the pressure of seeing the therapist. Right? Seeing the therapist is a big, scary thing. But being asked questions by strangers that you never have to speak to again if you don't want to is a little bit less imposing.
Right.
You can always turn it off.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can run away whenever you want.
There's less accountability. Yeah.
And you can discount it too, because it's with the therapist, there's an implied, they're a therapist, they went to school for this, they're better prepared for this.
Whereas there's an authority there.
Right. Whereas this is just, these are just random yahoos on the airwaves.
Right.
And I can walk away from it. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, it's an interesting space for sure. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about, Kat?
Not that I can. I'm sure I'll think of something later, but not that I can think of now.
Were we welcoming enough? Was this okay?
You were lovely. You were both lovely.
Okay.
Lies.
I would be happy to come back anytime. You guys are lovely. Lionel, what do you do?
I'm a computer programmer for universities.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, that's what I do. I work from home.
You are very musically inclined, like Jim.
I love music.
Yeah, I can tell by the conversation we had earlier, that you have a real love for music, a genuine love for music, not just like a passive listening love.
Well, I'm fascinated. Again, I'd be interested if you ever think of it, if you find something that you think is punk, and you think it's like nobody else would call this punk on the planet, maybe fling it my way.
I will.
Because I'm fascinated by things. I play things for people. And I say, this totally rocks. And I end up playing them something by Bach. And they're like, this is not rock. I said, yes, it is. Because it's about the feeling.
It is. It's about the feeling. It's about the emotions it evokes, right?
Exactly.
I'm a classically trained flute player.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I understand very much exactly what you mean when you say that. Because I have this wide range of ideas about what is, what music is and what it should be, or what it could be, and this wide taste. I have been meaning to send you some ambient things, some more ambient,
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, I noticed that was something that you liked. I don't know. I saw you on a live or something, and I noticed that. And I've been meaning to. There's this one album. It's called Switched on Raw, and the band is called the Bitchin' Bajas, and it is this fantastic ambient noise album. That's just so fun and interesting, and I love it. The last person I played it for said, I haven't been shown an album I thought was worth listening to in at least 3 years, and this was worth listening to. And I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like we maybe scratch the surface. Maybe if you'd like to come back, we could have another conversation.
Yeah, whenever you want. I'm down.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I try to keep these to an hour, and I need to go and pick up my kid. But I really appreciate your coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you having me.
What are the chances we can get Thrail on?
I bet he would. I'm sure he would.
You think?
Yeah,
that would be
I
interesting.
Do. I think he would.
It'd be a different conversation.
That would be really fun. I would be really excited to listen to that, actually.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
And actually, Philly Red, fascinating person. So many fascinating people, actually.
She would end up interviewing you guys.
Philly did interview me.
It is a pleasure to be asked questions by her. It is genuinely just
super sharp.
Lovely. Yeah, she's fantastic. This was great. Thank you so much.
Funny Not Funny is produced by Jim Infantino at Slab Media in Boston. Jim Infantino and Lionel Casson are the co-hosts. Our website is funnynotfunny.net. The theme music is from the song Wheel from the album Utopia Revisited by Jim. The opinions presented by the co-hosts are ridiculous and should not be taken seriously by anyone. Our intended audience is literally nobody. If you're listening to this podcast, you should probably pause to reflect on other choices you've recently made. Please do not subscribe or leave a rating or review. It only encourages us to make more. Thanks for listening.